Good morning, America. This is the Silver Sun speaking, Jonathon, on November 24th, 2021. This is my second post today, and I would like to try and encapsulate why I'm here. What drove me to come here? I have no prior recollection to any type of previous life in my mental history. So arriving here 16 years ago, I really wasn't prepared to deal with the wars, the warfare, the psychological torment, the anguish, the pain. I wasn't able to combat it. There is a person in my life, this life's history, not the history of this place, but my life prior to arriving here, that had a massive influence on my life. And that is Robert Zimmerman. Otherwise known as Bob Marley. In the year of 2003, I was working for a company called Publicis, or otherwise known as Mojo. And I would listen to his back catalogue, Kaya, Babylon by Bus, Legend. And it spoke to me on a level of a reactionary type of figure who could come into being a force for good against the forces of oppression, subjugation. Bob Marley for me was like a Christ. A militant Rastafarian figure who, through his channeling and smoking of marijuana, was able to radicalize himself and his lyrics so that the white man's devil could be tarnished, could be burned in an effort to attain justice. The CIA came to his house in Jamaica, in Kingston Town, Trenchrtown, and agents from the CIA tried to kill him in his home. It was something paranormal and angelic went on in that house during that precise time they were putting bullets through the door. He was able to get cover, he was able to seek sanctuary, and he was able to stay alive. I've had former beatniks or Beatles fans say to me during the during the early 70s, the 70s era, the late 60s, the ska movement of music, the genre, that reggae was where it was at. I found such an affiliation with my black, brown Rasta brothers. Having lived a fortunate life, such as the fortunate son in Creedence Clearwater song, I now felt subjugated and persecuted by the same forces that would kill my black brethren. It's okay for them to kill my black brethren. It's okay for them to persecute me and to make me bleed and to make me suffer and to put me in excruciating pain. But they know it's not okay to kill me. So on weekends, I would tap into this reggae music that was written and composed by masters, Peter Tosh, they really knew that they took control of that genre of music and took it to new heights. If someone is to delve into that, they see a lot of black people struggling to get by. But this was a movement. This was changing time in certain intervals, certain regions of the world, certain epochs. It began creation began here during the heights of Bob Marley and the Wailers. '71, '72, it's been 50 years now. And I would talk to Bob over the radio on weekends, just listening over and over. And he says, the one message that came from Bob that is still instilled in my mind is that I must try to fulfill the book. I didn't know anything about myself, only that I was special, unique, and I was willing, I was open to being a reactionary figure in life, to try and lead a way to the light, to the future, through the darkness. And Bob is still connected to me. And it was him that prophesied a recording. It was on the BBC website that I found in 2005 that Jesus will return in 2,000 years as prophesied. This is Jesus too. But I believe it's from when the temple was destroyed in the Jewish rebellion against the Roman Empire in 69, 70 AD. So that makes us at least less than 50 years away from Armageddon. And the return of Jesus. If you look back what happened in the 70s, early 70s, with the Jesus Revolution, many people were getting baptized, many people were becoming born again, taking on new spiritual or religious identities. This was happening in America, and a great return of faith happened, a return to God. And this is why Jimmy Carter was elected in 76. Jimmy Carter had a strong faith. He's from the South, probably Baptist. And he wanted to be God's exemplary statesman, or Caesar, to America that had religion on his side, that had Christians on their side, that had faith-based institutions on their side, on his side, on the government side. I love my government. I love my country, I love my God, I love my family, but I don't like the U.S. government. That's another story. But it's hypocrisy at its finest. So I did this because of Bob Marley and his music. I did this for black people. I did this for the black African Americans who went through 400 years of rape, pillage, plunder, and murder. I did it for the saints who went through 400 years of discrimination, murder, and the litany of how these believers were brutalized in Rome and around the Roman Empire for simply having a belief in God. Some were mauled by lions, some were crucified in various which ways. I'm doing this for the saints, so they have a future they can believe in too. Now, I just wanted to rehash some statements that I said before in my earlier post. 10 is God. His mind is global. He communicates through the earth. He talks to his subjects as they walk along the beach during a night sunset. with the ones who go bushwalking. There's a conduit that he can connect to his people, and that is Earth. It's the common bond that we all have. If we sit on Earth, we are therefore Earthlings. And that is subject to scrutiny sometimes when we arrive in places that don't resemble Earth or the Earth of the past. I've been to places where the Earth is inert. It does not speak to me. It does not communicate. People know God 11 and 10 have tried to communicate through this reconfigured multiverse that the Earth has become. It remains silent. Not to everyone, but to me it does. And I don't want to go back there. I have certain coping mechanisms. I have certain I have drugs that work, that do the job. They get me to sleep. I have coffee and tea during the day to dispel the fog. But I hope if I get back to the real world, that Bob is happy that I didn't make the ultimate sacrifice. I hope he's happy to see my face, and not be one of the people that he might shun, or because I am known in the Bible as this man. There are entries in the living word of the gospel in that mention this man. And it talks about a rebel with a rage and a hunger of lioness beasts. I am a lion, I am a Leo. I do have a pride of sentient lions. I am the little lion man from Mumford and Sons. But I've come as a reactionary figure to a world whose racist, xenophobic, misogynist traits are instilled in the fabric of reality. No, not the fabric of reality. They're instilled in society, and it's inherent in the system, and it's not going to change because people were made this way. That they are programmed this way by these governments. And these capitalists are willing to die for the system. It's racist, xenophobic, misogynist, unequal system that they have put into place and that they are willing to die for. Because people say, that's just pathetic. It is. It's so pathetic. When Midas Yahoo and his song in his album Youth, there's a song in there that goes, no more war, no more hunger. All our human needs are taken care of. Housing, electricity, clothing, education, work, government, local, community, federal, state. It's all there in place. But the system in the future is not capitalism. Can we just have a suicide squad to be enacted for these people to take their lives so they can be remade? That is part of the solution. The God represented by the number 10 is not Yahweh. I just want to make that clear. It's not Yahweh. 10 and 11 are both super godly spiritual beings. If they were to take their spiritual bodies, it would be the size of the giant Buddha in Afghanistan, 300-400 feet tall. These are super angelic beings. And they're working inside out. 11 is not here. He is not here to look after me. He is my father. I have his DNA. My chromosomes are probably in the thousands. He is part robot. Have you ever seen, he's a sporting god. His prowess is renowned. If robots can't beat 11 on the football field, why do they think they'll beat his humanly subjects in the real world? You are stuck inside a program that has parameters that only can fit, that can only understand the keys that are on your keyboard. You're quite limited in understanding the innate beliefs and mystical ideas of esoteric communes, esoteric sects, cults, communities. You don't fuck with God. This is a bit of the human robot war that's been going on, raging around my life on a day-to-day basis, just because I'm some savior or some leader or some way of light. It comes back to this John Connor savior bullshit that I wrote on Facebook. I am supposed to be the epitome of public enemy. That is true. But I'm not a fucking mind terrorist. I have mental powers too. I'm a sporting god. I can be a conduit between inner realms and astrals. I can connect. I can transfer micros from an inner realm inwardly to an astral plane above. I can do that. That's one of my godly powers. Why what does that have to do with John Connor? So it's obvious that 11 can't reach me. I'm kind of in 10's domain. And Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, Britain, Europe, they're all part of this socialist apocalypse. Everyone's agreed. They're all part of it. It's a biblical story we're part of now. You've seen the floods. You've seen the fires. You've seen the droughts. You've seen the blue-green algae and on the Murrumbidgee. But the drought's been broken. A five-year drought has been broken, and it keeps raining out west. They're predicting more flood watches. We fixed the Murrumbidgee. We fixed it. Tornadoes have been seen in New South Wales. I don't recall ever seeing a tornado in New South Wales out around near Bathurst. Never in my life have I heard of a tornado in Australia. This is a must-watch event. I implore everyone listening to this that I'm not your chump. I'm a person with feelings who still has my divine right. It may not work here, but it's supposed to. And if you respect QE2, and if you respect Prince Charles, who's going to take over the job, you would at least respect someone who has a record far beyond anything they can compare to. This place is not sane. There are dead people walking around. They have jobs. Some people say they have the power to vote. Please get me out of here, alright? I need help getting out of here. I want to go back to the real world, where apparently my own family have said that I disappeared somewhere in Mexico and is presumed dead. So imagine the shit fight I'm gonna have to be prepared for just to get my rights back. and not some invalid. Godspeed. Be the face to God today. Lend a hand. Cheer up a lonely soul. Help heal with the touch that only a human can provide. Come to the aid and assistance of someone who you care about. Be the face of God to them today. Adios.